Welcome to What's Your Story? I'm Charlie Timmons, your host. Every week I bring you guests who are authentic, genuine, with information and insights that you can put to use in your business and personal life immediately. And today's no different. My guest today is Roy Innella, and he's with an organization called Wealth Advocate Investment Group. And by the end of this conversation, you'll know what advocate means. Roy helps his clients keep more of what they make, and he's got a logo that I find very catchy. It's not how much you make, it's how much you keep. And you're going to learn today so you can start doing what Roy suggests moving forward. Roy, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Charlie.
So first thing we should do is let's get clear about what do you do in the world of business.
Essentially, I am a financial advisor, if you boil it down technically. But what I do is work with clients to help them find assets through tax advantaged strategies where they get additional funds so we can help them invest. Most of our first experiences with the client, we are finding some sort of federal tax rebate, so they're getting a check, and then we ask them, what are you going to do with that money? And that's how we get the experience started.
So this sounds a little unique and different than other people I've spoken to. So how would you classify your difference? We're different, Charlie, because we do what?
Well, the first thing we do, Charlie, is we do an assessment of their tax situation. Generally, it's a small business. We work with professionals, construction companies, HVAC companies, high profit industries where they get surges in profits and they have the need to find some way to reduce their tax burden.
So what would you compare that to? Any analogies that you might help the audience understand what you do?
We were briefly conversing before, and the expression I use is you're spending money before the tax toll bridge, because after it goes past the tax toll bridge, it's gone, and it's no longer tax advantaged. So if you can spend that money before the tax toll bridge, you have a distinct advantage in retaining wealth.
See, I've never heard of this before, and it appears to me that any business owner who his accountant says to them at some point, hey, we're going to have a lot of money at the end of the quarter, should be talking to someone like you.
Hopefully, we try to nip that in the bud before it becomes a problem, but we do get a lot of calls towards the end of the year to work on some sort of strategy to alleviate some windfall, if that's the case. And then we'll go forward with a tax plan to keep them tax efficient.
So some of the audience is sitting there saying, I wonder if I'm the kind of person that should call Roy. So give us a flavor of that ideal client for you.
Ideally, I work with some business owners that are hitting it out of the park, that have extreme profitability, and they just don't know where to. They've maxed out their 401k plan, their IRA. They're not sure how to get the excess profits out of the business. Generally, like I say, it's a lot of professionals, chiropractors, construction companies, HVAC companies, or just small business owners that have been in business for a while, and maybe they own a commercial building. They want to reap some of the benefits of owning a commercial building with some special tax breaks that are available.
I want to talk about you for a minute because you've had a very interesting business journey. You've been one of those business owners that you're just referring to.
Yes.
So could you share with the audience a little bit about how you got to this point?
Sure. Well, I owned a printing business for 10 years, and before that I worked in the printing industry for 20 years before that, so a total of 30 years. Sold my business in the mid-90s when the world of printing changed and profitability became a thing of history, and tried to find some way that I could work with businesses to help them not make the mistakes that I made and pay the high taxes that I did. And it took me a while to figure that out. I got into the financial industry first, so that gave me a foundation. And then I have some education on tax savings. And I work with a back office of professionals, a whole database full of professionals who just work on tax efficiency.
In reading between the lines of what you just told me, there was a point in your history where you could have benefited from knowing somebody like the 2020 version of Roy.
Absolutely,
Okay.
absolutely.
Because you owned a building. Would that have been, could somebody have helped you had they known, they known then what you know now?
Absolutely. There is a very, very prominent method of depreciation that most CPAs know about, but they don't have the expertise. If you own a commercial building, you can accelerate depreciation in a lot of different ways, not just a 39-year method. And that, if the building is sizable and there's been renovations done over the last 20 years, we can look back and derive tax credits and actual rebates for those renovations through the accelerated depreciation. So it's creating cash flow where there was none.
We can't live with regrets, Roy. We have to continue moving forward. You mentioned also you were more of a traditional type of financial advisor, the ones that most of the audience have come in contact with. What is it about this that really pleases you? You get satisfaction out of this, I sense.
Well, I was a traditional financial advisor. That's how I started. That's how I learned about the financial world and have access to all of the securities and things, the different types of investments that are available. But I really didn't like the traditional role of how to get business from the public.
So it was more of a push kind of a
Right.
method?
Yeah, I mean, I was a business owner, and I speak their language. I had to make a payroll. I had to pay taxes. I had employees that I had to deal with, the insurances, and all of those headaches that business owners deal with on a day-to-day basis. I can speak on a one-to-one basis with them because we share that commonality. So, I can guide them to spend before the tax toll bridge.
I'm just sitting here saying that gives them a lot of comfort to know that I'm talking to somebody who's been there before, understands the problems, may not have benefited from the kind of advice you're giving today, but you know better than ever how you can help people. And that's very, very important.
Absolutely. It's a lot of fun for me.
So besides fun, why else do you do it?
Well, I'm giving back to business owners. Again, it's helping people who've been through things that I've been through and help them get through to the end in a better way. It's a struggle if you're a business owner and you have no one to teach you how to legally, morally, and ethically avoid taxes.
Ethically is important.
Yes. CPAs try, but they're generally dealing with information that you're giving them after it's occurred.
Sort of horses are out of the barn kind of a thing. It's hard to get them back.
Exactly. In some cases, we can help them, but it would be a lot more effective if we could help them before that. We tell our clients we want to help them make history, not have to deal with history.
You mentioned before we started something about an HVAC client that you had. Could you share with the audience that story?
Sure. One of our first cases was an HVAC contractor in South Jersey. Had 75 employees, $1.2 million building, and asked us to come in and audit and find a way to help see if there was anything we could do. So we did a tax assessment. We got him $48,000 in cost segregation rebates, and then another $12,000 in a workers' comp insurance audit. So they were very happy with our end result.
And do you find that most business owners take that money and sort of reinvest it in the business?
In that case, it was a small amount for that size business. So yeah, the business owner did use that for extra cash flow. But now going forward, they're going to have that extra cash flow every year.
How about that? So we need to take a break. We need to hear from our sponsors. But when we come back, I want to learn more about some of the benefits to small businesses that you provide through your company.
Sure.
We'll be right back. Don't go away. More to learn. Thank you.
Behind-the-scenes footage, previews, and more.
I work 13 hours a day, 6 days a week. So when I'm off the clock, I gotta get stuff done. So when I need a snack, I need something healthy, tasty, and easy to eat. Like wonderful pistachios without the shells. They're protein-powered, delicious, and great on the go. And that's perfect for me.
Thanks, Liz.
A woman without a lot of time.
Whether you're a gourmet cook or just want to eat like one, visit Rostelli Market Fresh, your home for the freshest, locally sourced ingredients to please everyone who loves great food. Our organic meats, quality seafood, and free-range poultry are cut fresh to order. Chefs create culinary-inspired prep foods made fresh every day, which pair nicely with our vast selection of fine wines and spirits. Choose from handmade pastas, artisan cheeses, organic produce, and grocery items, all from the finest purveyors. Rostelli Market Fresh, from our family to yours.
RVNTV is a platform for people of any industry to share their story. Over 285,000 viewers are tuning in to RVNTV shows monthly. We guarantee a great experience that you'll be sharing with everyone you know while increasing your personal and company's brand awareness. But what is your brand? According to Forbes, it's a combination of your logo, your product, your design and feel, and your personality. Did you know that aside from being a guest, we offer even more opportunity to boost your brand? Adding your company logo and website on screen during your interview will allow viewers to recognize your brand instantly. Incorporating images and video clips is another great way to showcase your product during your live segment. Let viewers see how good you really are. And most importantly, there's you and your interview. For less than the cost of a newspaper, direct mail, or a magazine ad, you can leave our studio and within 48 hours have a permanent digital copy of your live segment to link to your social media, embed into your company website, or use in email marketing. Investing in your brand is so very important, and we can't wait to have you as a guest.
Welcome back to What's Your Story? Today I'm here with Roy Innella, and Roy's favorite motto is keep more of what you make. And before the break, he was explaining about a client that he had helped. I want to get a little more specific. I want some big numbers out of you. Can you share something that potential clients could make six figures as a result of your efforts?
Absolutely. In fact, our average client saves $250,000. That's our average.
Would you repeat that number again?
$250,000.
And so is there anybody that you've ever met with that regretted meeting with you?
Not when I gave him a check for $250,000.
But you don't always give checks for $250,000.
No, it comes in different ways.
What's the worst thing they learn?
The worst case scenario is that they're tax efficient and they don't need me.
That's
But
wonderful.
generally they'll use me for something else.
So share a story with you fairly current one, where you might be working on something big?
We're working with a health club right now that just did a large renovation, about a $2.7 million renovation to their building inside and out, and found that they are probably available tax rebates are $400,000, plus another $20,000 minimum in real estate tax rebates. So that's a pretty big one.
So from start to finish, about how long does that process take to arrive at those conclusions?
To arrive at those, to develop the case study where we know what the projected rebate is going to be, it take maybe a couple of weeks.
Wow, so that quickly they can find out.
Sure. Yeah, it depends on the complexity of the building, if they have drawings or, you know, they have invoices or things that we can use to build the data.
Talk about
Then
this
it's
thing
easy.
you talk about, segregation, segmentation, what was that?
Cost segregation is a method of accelerating depreciation. Came out in the late 80s, and it's a form of ACRS, accelerated depreciation, that you can, instead of depreciating a building with renovations over 39 years, you're taking personal property within that building and depreciating it over 5, 10, or 15 years over classification. That requires the work of a special engineering study, and they determine which elements are government approved that can go on that spreadsheet so we can figure out what the rebate is. Then we give those documents to the CPA, and the CPA then can file the documents for the client.
Are CPAs a good group of people for you to be introduced to?
Absolutely. We love CPAs because they have the data, and we often will partner with CPAs, and they'll take me around to their clients, and since they know what the numbers are, we can cherry pick and find the best money for the client and get them rebates. CPA looks like a hero.
You're not competing with them, you're partnering with them.
No,
in a way.
absolutely. No,
All right.
we love CPAs. We're not trying to replace anybody. We're trying to make it look good.
I like people that like to make
Yeah.
me look good. I want them around. I want to keep them thriving. I want to give them referrals. So what are some of the other outcomes that clients gain from working with you, besides getting big checks? What has surprised you as outcomes from working with
Well,
your clients?
What we've learned from doing this over the past year and a half or so, we've investigated other ways to invest people's money.
Oh, really?
So there are tax advantage investments for high net worth individuals, and these are all high net worth individuals that we deal with. There are tax advantage investments where they'll essentially get a tax rebate on what they invest, and then they get a little higher return. So we've developed a wealth of knowledge in that area as a step 2 to
Okay.
the process.
So in essence, so what kind of role, what words would you use to describe your role? Because it's more than just an outsider.
Well, certainly, I'm a fiduciary.
Okay.
I'm certified as a fiduciary, so that I have to work in the client's best interest.
All right.
I have to put his interest above my own. In doing that, we put the tax piece in place and any other rebates, and then like I said, as step 2, we will find investments for them that are not only higher returns and also tax advantaged. So it completes the picture. Now we do insurances, we do buy-sell insurance to make sure that the business has a nice, tidy structure. We make sure the corporate structure is, the entity is put together properly for the best tax break. It's kind of a family office atmosphere, if you know what a family office is.
Absolutely. That's a great analogy to use. In a way, you're bulletproofing the business.
Absolutely. Working with their attorney, their CPA, that way anything to do with money is all communicated within the same realm.
So if somebody were to say to you, hey, what's your value proposition? I mean, we've been talking about pieces of it, but what would you say to somebody?
Well, I prove it doesn't cost anything to do business with me.
Okay, it's important.
What I say is, you come to me, you give me money, I give you more back.
Oh, I like that. I like that. Is that a promise or is that an aspiration?
No, I have to be careful with regulators because
It's an
I can't
aspiration.
promise that. I
It's an-
can't guarantee it. But for the ideal client, that's the way it works. The tax rebate funds, sometimes funds in a tax advantage retirement plan, golden handcuffs. There are just innumerable things that we can't elaborate in 10 minutes.
You made a reference earlier about the worst thing that could happen is they find out that it's all okay, everything's done right. What percentage of businesses out there, and I don't want to hold you to it, but your gut tells you the number of businesses out there that you can't help?
I can tell you a fact, that 95% of business owners are leaving money on the table.
Say that again.
95% of business owners are leaving money on the table. That's a fact.
So that affects their retirement. That could affect the valuation of their company. Because if you can
Yes.
find ongoing savings, that's going to boost the valuation of their company should they decide
Yes.
to use that, selling it as a liquidity event.
It's their exit strategy, their cash flow, their retirement planning, their estate plan. It's all affected by taxes. If you don't get the taxes right, nothing else matters.
That's correct. And again, I don't know how many business owners are that savvy. They need somebody like you, at least for a second opinion as to what may be going on.
Well, I think so. I like to work, with the CPA so that we can do the right thing for the client. So the CPA's not guessing, I'm not guessing. If I'm advising them on their financial plan and they're not taking advantage of maximizing their tax efficiently, then they're losing. It's not how much you make, it's how much you keep.
There's your motto
You know,
again.
yeah.
That makes a lot of sense. The world's too uncertain. There's so much out there that can upset the apple cart. Understanding this part of their business and getting it under control would be absolutely invaluable. Now, I'm going to ask you a question. In 3 words, if somebody said to you, describe your business in 3 words, what would those 3 words be?
Tax efficient strategies.
Oh, you're clever. I meant 3 separate words, and you just... This man's sharp. This man's sharp. Give me 3 separate words.
Legal, moral, and ethical.
That's not a bad grouping of words.
It's tough to boil that down to 3 words, Charlie.
So let me ask you another question before we leave. Who, living or dead, would you want to have dinner with? And why?
Mother Teresa,
Why?
because she gave back to the world in innumerable ways, and very difficult to find an individual who has done so much for humanity.
We usually pick heroes. They're the ones to which we aspire. So I get that sense from our conversation that you feel the same way. We need to bring this to a halt because we ran out of time. But before we go, I want you to look into the camera, Roy. Speak to the audience and share whatever you would like with them.
Well, if you're a business owner and you have an issue that you believe leads to excessive taxes and you think your CPA needs help, please contact me, introduce me to your CPA, and get a free tax assessment and we'll make sure that, you know, we do the right thing for you and you know, maximize your tax situation. My website is yourwealthadvocate.com. There's all kinds of information on what I do. My phone number is 610-695-8748.
Would you repeat that?
610-695-8748.
I think all of the audience that fits the description of your target market would make a lot of sense to have them call you. So Roy, thank you very much
Thank
for
you.
coming. I appreciate
Thanks
it.
for having me.
And thank you for tuning in. I hope you learned a lot today. I did. Tune in next week. I'll have another guest who's authentic and genuine, who's going to share insights and practical information to help you improve your life and your business. So thanks. Be well. We'll see you next week on What's Your Story. Nice job.